Hey guys, welcome to Traditional Bow Hunting and Wilderness Podcast. This is Jason Samkoviak, and I bought a new 2022 Tacoma TRD off-road. And if you follow my podcast, you follow my information, my social media, you know this was about a 4 or 5 month process of me narrowing down a whole bunch of vehicles. And we're going to explain to you why that was the one that I ended up buying, why I chose that Tacoma TRD off-road. It was originally started out as possibly SUVs, like the 4Runner, the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, things of that nature. Another one of my Cherokee Trailhawks that I have. I love that vehicle. And so it's kind of started that way, but then it evolved into needing a truck. I got some new business opportunities here that I might be able to expand into, and a truck would be more valuable for me for that, to have that bed space for that extra stuff other than my trailer I pull. But trailer tow capacity is always a huge one for me. I got to be able to at least tow 4,000 pounds minimum, and we're kind of ruled out the Wrangler Rubicon automatically. 4Runner would have made it. My Cherokee makes it. So those were some variables, but it led to a truck. Between those trucks, I was looking at the Gladiator, the Jeep Gladiator, brand new 2022 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. Was looking at the Ford Ranger Tremor package because I think the Tremor offered me more of what I wanted over the XLT and then FX4 package, and then building from there. You kind of got almost everything you needed right out of the gate with the Tremor, so I was looking at that one. And then it led me to also the Tacoma TRD Off-Road and a Nissan's new Frontier they have as well too, that Pro X4. Those were ones I was looking at. Okay, well, I narrowed it down to, narrowed it right down to the Ford Ranger and the Tacoma mainly. There's the Chevy Colorado, the ZR2 is another option. But that one, I just don't care for the looks of it much, and some of the features, not a big fan of them. Personally, nothing wrong with them, just not my cup of tea. So I kind of narrowed it down to those two. The Gladiator, I actually did call on quite a few Gladiators, and right now, with it being, you know, at the time I'm doing this, it was like right now, it's beginning in November 2021. You're getting into, but all through October, we had a lot of ADM on a lot of these things, okay? Additional dealer markup that was happening on a lot of vehicles. Every one of them, Ford, Chevy, Chrysler, every one of them were getting ADM because of the lack of inventory, additional dealer markup. So I was calling on the Rubicon, Gladiator Rubicons, $50,000 to $55,000, you know, $52,000 to $55,000 MSRPs. And they were marking them up 5, 6, 7 grand, and a lot of times they won't tell you that until you actually call and start diving deeper. They're not listing that ADM when you start researching them and finding out, and then you're finding out later on. Long story short, I couldn't have got that Gladiator for more than about 2 grand off of MSRP. No way. Okay. Same with the Ford Tremor. $43,000 sticker price, and I was seeing ADMs of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. No way. I did find a few that will sell it at MSRP, but again, no way. Reason for that is I won't buy an American vehicle, whether that's Ford, Chevy, Ram, Chrysler, you know, it doesn't matter what it is, Jeep, any of the American-made motors, I'm not going to buy them unless I get 20% off, okay? Because 20% off is very doable for me. It's very easy to make that happen. And if you follow my Save Thousands course and the stuff I teach in there, the only way you make money on a car is when you sell it. You don't make money when you buy it. It's impossible. But in order to make money when you sell it, you have to buy it for the absolute lowest price. That Ford Ranger, or any American car, right, other than during COVID and during this, this shortage that we have right now, you know, all the way up until now, and probably a year and a half or so, 2 years maybe from now, when dealer lots are restocked and everything is good, you should be able to get about 20% off of, you know, sometimes more. I mean, my Jeeps, I've got 36% off on my Jeep Gladiator, or on my Jeep Renegade that I had. But you know, in my Ram truck, you know, I mean, like I said, we're talking 20% off on a $67,000 vehicle. That's huge. I got it for $51,500. So these deals are there on American cars, but that's the reason their resale value is so much lower is because they usually give good rebates. They're never giving 20%, but they might give 8%, 9%. You might get lucky, get 10%. And if you learn the stuff I teach you, you can get up to 20, 25% off. There's so much room to work with American cars. Buying an American car at MSRP, in my opinion, doesn't work for me because I'm not going to get my resale out of it later on. If I pay MSRP right now, for example, to give you a comparison between these two, I did it down here because I knew you guys were going to ask, and it's going to be all over the comments on this, again, because there's so many people in my Save Thousands course. Let's say that Tremor, and you got one without any ADM, no additional markup, $43,000 sticker price. Now, if it's an American car, I'm going to put an extended warranty on it. It's going to happen. It's going to be at least a minimum of an 85,000 mile extended warranty because I'm not owning one. These cars are too technological today, and too many things go wrong, and there's too many issues, especially with the newer American stuff, and you got turbo motors and twin turbo engines in them and things like that. All these variables, I'm not owning one without having an extended warranty. You know, Jeep's amazing. I love Jeeps, but I've had, I've owned a lot of Wranglers. I know what happens with them, and I wouldn't own a Gladiator without an extended warranty. Myself, personally, I'm driving 40,000 miles a year. I'm going to keep a vehicle for 2 years. That's 80,000 miles. I would want an 85,000 mile bumper-to-bumper warranty. So you're looking at $43,000 for that Tremor, MSRP, best you're going to get it for. $2,500 for the extended warranty puts you at $45,500. When you go to sell that 2 years from now, when the market is back to normal and cars are everywhere and the deals are available, that is going to lower the resale value or resale price of that car in the used market. I may only get 30 grand for that truck. 2 years from now, 80,000 miles on it. That means that I've lost $15,500. Huge. That would be the worst I've ever lost on any vehicle in history ever, and I don't usually lose on vehicles. That's insane. So that rules it out there. And then while we're at it, you take into the fact that Tremor, actually, believe it or not, this Tacoma, of every vehicle in this category like this, gets some of the best gas mileage. Okay? Plain and simple. It's phenomenal. Even though everybody thinks it sucks. You know, when you watch YouTube and you see about how it sucks, they're also lifting it 3 inches and they're putting 33s on there, 33 by 1150 tires on them, and they're doing all this stuff, and that's going to kill your gas mileage on a little mini V6 motor. It's just not, you're not going to beat it, okay? But when you don't get too crazy with your mods, 21 miles per gallon is pretty average. It's pretty acceptable. This thing gets 18 to 23 is what its EPA recommendation is. The EPA recommendation on the Tremor is only 18. 18 city, 18 highway. Okay, and now if you look at a regular Ranger 4-wheel drive, might be 24. But that's because that's little wheels, low to the ground, doesn't have the lift, doesn't have the stuff that the Tremor has. And so you're losing a tree. You know, it's got all these front spoilers for gas mileage. So it's not relevant because I'm not going to leave it that way. So when you compare the apples to apples, which would be a Tremor model set up the way it would be, and then a TRD off-road with the setup the way I'm going to have it, the TRD off-road Tacoma gets better gas mileage by minimum of 2. Even if it's only a 2 miles per gallon difference, over the course of my 2 years and 80,000 miles, that's $1,700 extra over this truck that I have to pay in fuel. So when you look at that Tremor, I am now, my total cost to operate, or to own, my total cost to own, not counting my normal used gas mileage that would be between the two of them, the differences of that Tremor with everything, it would cost me $17,200 to drive that vehicle for those 2 years. That's stupid. That's crazy. That's insane. Again, understand my situation. 40,000 miles a year. This isn't like this for everybody. Got to look at my situation. Whereas that TRD off-road here, $39,000 MSRP. I can buy it for that. Resale is $34,000 in 2 years. I've lost 5 grand. 5 grand versus 17,200. See what I'm getting at? And I could go very detailed on this. And I do on my podcast and some things, and maybe I'll do another video for you on this. I teach you stuff in the course, but there's a tremendous difference between 5,000 and 17,200. So that killed and ruled out the Tremor out of the deal. So, and that was just the financial aspect. So what else besides that made this Tacoma my first choice? That's what we're going to get into today. While we're at it, Resale on here, we'll cover that too, why that's only $5,000 and that one was such a big difference there. We will break that down. Okay, but so we're looking at a Toyota Tacoma 2022 TRD off-road. I wanted the TRD off-road model because I want the rear locker and I want MTS. These two are vital for what I do off-road. Hunting, adventure, stuff like that. This is where I live at. This is important to me. Those are mandatory. The size of the Tacoma mattered tremendously. Okay, I've had many full-size trucks. I think 9 new F-150s in the past 12 or 13 years. Okay, so F-150s are great trucks, don't get me wrong. But this Tacoma is about the size of my early 2000s F-150s. Okay, the trucks are just getting so much bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And they have got to a point where they're too big, they're too long, their breakover angles are no good, their departure angles and their approach angles and their off-road capabilities are dwindling tremendously now. I need lightweight. I need something that's going to handle the mud, it's going to handle the ruts, it's going to handle these holes, it's going to handle the things I get into. Full-size trucks don't do that anymore. Okay, I know, I've owned them. Okay, I've owned quite a few of them. And we got that Ram 2500 diesel out there. Thing's huge, it's way up off the ground, it's a beast. Too heavy, it gets stuck all the time out there. You know, everything has its place. For me, the size of this Tacoma fit the bill of what I need perfectly. Plus, I'm a wedding photographer. It's one of my businesses that I own, and I'm in Detroit all the time, and I am constantly fighting for parallel parking or jamming into these tight little spots, and somebody's going to ding my doors, beat things up, that kind of stuff. A smaller truck gives me more options to do that. Trying to fit my F-150s down there were a nightmare. I walk much less in my Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk now than I ever did with my F-150s, where I would have to keep passing up parking spots because I can't get in there. Go 3-4 blocks down, find a place to park there, and then run with camera gear and everything to go meet people for pictures in the city. This Tacoma, much more compact, and it's going to fit in there a lot better. One of the beautiful things I love about the Cherokee that I have, fit it anywhere I want to. So that size is a huge factor for me when it comes to this truck. Capabilities and the angles, okay? 9.5 inches of ground clearance stock, great departure angles, good breakover angles, great approach angles. The angles on this thing are very off-road worthy, okay? I need that. That's very important for what I do, okay? We spend a tremendous amount of time hunting, spend a tremendous amount of time exploring back roads and 2 tracks and the power lines and beaten or off the beaten path and doing that kind of stuff and camping trips and just adventure trails. That's what we love to do, is be outdoors. Okay, so I need a capable truck in the woods, plain and simple. That's where that rear locker and the MTS stuff comes in. MTS, the rear locker, I've done videos on that. Okay, if you buy a truck that does not have a rear locker but is 4-wheel drive, you bought a 2-wheel drive vehicle. Okay, understand that. I know somebody, well, limited slip differential, the G80 and the Chevys and blah, blah, blah. We're going to go on and on. It's all fine and dandy. You word it and figure it out any way that justifies it for you. But in reality, with open differentials, you buy a 4-wheel drive truck and it does not have a locking differential option, electronic one, a button in the car that you can hit, you have a 2-wheel drive vehicle truck. When you lose traction, one of the rear wheels will lose traction and it will get all the power and sit there and spin. Same in the front, one will sit there and spin. You only have 2 drive wheels, and when they break free, those are the ones that get the power. Okay, it's a horrible system. Has to be that way so your vehicles can make turns correctly. Okay, it is. I've done videos on it. I'll link them below. Watch them if you want to. So the rear locker will allow you to have 3-wheel drive in a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Both rear wheels are locked together and work together rather than just whichever one loses traction spinning. They are locked, so now you have 2 in the back working and whatever one in the front has the power going to it. So that's a fantastic thing. MTS, multi-terrain select, okay? This is great. It used to be what they called ATEC, okay, or A-Track was what Toyota called it. It is a terrain selection system that not only you have your rear locker, but what this does is the computer will sense which wheels are slipping, all 4 wheels, okay, and if you have the rear lockers locked, they're locked and that's good, but any of your other wheels that are free, whatever one starts to slip, it'll apply the brakes and then send the power to the other one. When that one starts to slip, it'll apply the brakes, send the power, and it'll keep doing this so that it can crawl you out and walk you out of whatever you're in. So to apply power and braking to wherever it needs to, so you're not losing traction. Nothing beats the Toyota one. Maybe Land Cruiser, or even, you know, Land Rover has some pretty good stuff, but Toyota's MTS system, phenomenal. It's watch some videos on it. Watch these things crawl out of some sand. Watch them sink them down to the frames and drop them right into sand. One guy even turns on MTS and crawl control and gets out of the car, stands next to it like this and watches it work itself for a minute and keep creeping and working and fixing that traction and what wheel's sprinting where and how this is doing all this, and it actually crawls itself right up out of that hole as he's standing next to it. So that MTS system is amazing. Okay, it's incredible. Fuel mileage, like I said, fuel mileage on this Tacoma, it's incredible. And actually, I always thought, you know, when I first started looking at it, oh, fuel mileage is horrible. Fuel mileage is horrible when you lift them. When you lift them and you take them off the charts and do all this stuff with them, lift them up, put huge tires on them, and you end up killing now your gas mileage is going to be like 14. Okay, you take a Tacoma, you put a 3-inch lift on it, 3-inch in the front, 2-inch in the back. You put 285, 75, 16s on there for 33-inch tires and 33, 11, 50 tires on them. Put them on there. Your gas mileage will go what was 23 miles on the highway down to 15 miles on the highway. Maybe 16, maybe 17, depends on your elevation. Okay, but you're going to kill your gas mileage tremendously. If you don't get that crazy, which we'll cover in my mod stuff, the Tacoma does very good gas mileage wise compared to the Rubicon, compared to the Ford Tremor, compared to the Chevy Bison, Colorado ZR2 Bison, compared to all those, great gas mileage. Okay, is it as good as an F-150 2.7 EcoBoost? No, but you know, I mean, full-size trucks outsell these things 10 to 1. So full-size trucks are where the technology and this stuff goes. Okay, so in a mid-size truck, this is one of your best fuel economies in a mid-size capable truck. Okay, I mean, there's other ones out there. I'm not interested in a Ridgeline. Not that they're not phenomenal. I've actually seen Ridgelines go places I've seen other trucks that couldn't go. Down in South Carolina in some of the nasty flooded river zones down there. So I'm not knocking it, but I don't want a Ridgeline. So that puts us into this category. The composite bed and track system, I really like it. Okay, I don't have to buy a spray-in bed liner. That saves me $550 in my area, or a $500 spray or option from the dealer. Okay, I do not have to add that in. I have a composite bed. It's flawless. It's perfect. Not only do I have the tie downs everywhere, I have this amazing track system, and I'm showing you some pictures of this stuff as it's going here. But I have the amazing track system that Toyota has all around their bed system, their bed rail. That is worth a lot of money to me. It's very functional, practical, and like I said, with tax, it saves me about $600 in whether to not have to have a spray-in liner or a bed liner put into that truck. Shock location. This is a huge one for me, okay? It may not matter, but it is important to me. It is a pet peeve. You have a tire here, okay, and a tire here, and then you have your differential housing here, and then here's your axle. All right? So this is looking at the back of the truck. Here's your license plate looking down the back. You have your leaf springs, which are right here like this. Okay, here's your leaf springs. And then, now Toyota puts their shocks like Jeep does, like the Ford F-150 does, like every company in the world should do. I don't understand why they don't. The shocks are here right next to the wheel, okay, between the wheel and the leaf spring. That's where the shocks are. We like that. They're out of the way. They're not going to get beat up when you're going over stumps and rocks and stuff that's here like this. You can straddle those. Ford and Chevy put the shocks here between the differential and there where they can get damaged. And then I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. It is not, I'm sure it doesn't make as much difference as I make it out to be, but it drives me nuts. I cannot stand when they do that. There's no reason for it. It doesn't make sense. I want the shocks inboard, closer to the wheel, like that, not out here not in the middle of the axle. So for me, that shock location makes a big difference. It's a personal preference, but it's one that bothers me. Maybe it's the engineer in me that comes out, but I don't like what all these other companies do. True off-road companies, Toyota, Jeep, Ford with their F-150 did it too, but it's probably because of the Raptor, but they have it where the shocks should be. Having them out here in the middle, right next to the differential, pointless. And on Chevy, they hang down real low. They come way down there. So it's actually a way low point on the vehicle. But that inboard shock location matters. The internal storage space on the Toyota Tacoma is incredible. The space that you have in there, in the inside, no other truck in its class has it. Ford doesn't have it, Chevy doesn't have it, Nissan doesn't. Nobody has the storage setup behind the rear seats that you have, which is very important to me. Again, I'm an off-roader. Okay, I need recovery equipment, I need gear, I need all kinds of stuff. I need shovels, I need tow straps, I need D-shackles, I need all kinds of things to be in there for me. Line bags, I need all sorts of stuff in there for me to be able to get myself out of bad situations. Having that storage in there, phenomenal. It gives me somewhere to put it. Plus, the seat in the back of the Tacoma is a split 60-40. So I can actually put one half of that seat up, pile a ton of gear in the back end, and still have a third seat there for a third passenger if I want. So if my daughter wants to come with me and we still have all this stuff in there, she's fine. In the Ford, you can't do that. In the Ford, it's one whole back bench seat that comes up with almost zero storage in it. It does not even lay flat or nothing. So this is huge. And now the Toyota has this the right way. Chevy does pretty good. Ford blows at it. It's horrible. And the new Nissan Frontier does good. And the Rubicon was fantastic too. The Gladiator Rubicon had incredible inside storage. So those were all good ones. But this one fits the bill perfectly. Best value. Okay. Now, not to make this sound confusing, but like I said down here, the reason that everybody thinks Toyota has the best resale value is because Toyota never really gives deals. They don't give much incentive. They don't give much discounts and rebates, all right? They don't. So the resale value is always held high. People don't realize that, but when you go to buy a brand new vehicle and you compare, in a normal world, you compare a Ford to a Toyota to a Chevy to a Jeep, you can get, on all of them but the Toyota, you can get huge rebates. Okay, well then when you go to buy a used one, you look at them and the price is, the Toyota is this much, the other ones are this much. Okay, there's a huge difference. But Toyota never, when a person bought that car, let's look at that. Okay, here is your new car value. Okay, when you bought it, Toyota, Ford, Jeep, Chevy. Okay, this is the prices they paid. Okay, like this. Well then when you go to buy a used one, it's still like that. And people are like, wow, they hold their value so much. They really don't. Where that value comes in is because you don't get the discounts on when you buy it the smart way on a Toyota like you can on the other ones. Remember, I told you, 20%. Okay, you can get on American cars. You can't get that on a Toyota. Okay, so the value is there for me right now, especially because I cannot get an American vehicle to come down to the prices they should be, that I will be expected to sell them for in 2 years. So that value there in American vehicles is lost for me. Toyota, since they never really go down a whole lot, maybe a grand or two here and there, but not a whole lot, right now, that for me is the absolute best value. Because if you can, you're always buying close to MSRP on a Toyota, then right now is the best time to buy one. Because right now they're asking MSRP on all vehicles, but in 2 years, the American ones, you'll be able to get 20% off. Again, take my course. So there's a great value in that factor for it right now too. Reliability. This one, 80,000 miles is not a lot of miles. Okay, and so a lot of people, this is my personal opinion, so we're going that route. But if I'm buying an American vehicle, okay, if I'm buying anything from Ford, GM, or Chrysler vehicles, I am going to put an extended warranty on it. I told it's just going to, today, the way it's going to be. It just is what it is. Okay, these technology moves too quick. Again, you got twin turbo engines. You got a lot of things that can go wrong with this stuff when you start putting some miles on them. When that happens, I want a warranty there to protect me. On the Toyota, which is such an ancient design in every kind of possible way. I mean, this one here, you know, it's almost considered a classic car, you know, when you think about the technology that's in it. That technology is very reliable, very robust. I don't need to put a warranty on a Toyota Tacoma to get me to 80,000 miles worry-free. Okay? I could if I want to, but I don't need to. If I'm not going to do that, that is going to save me this $2,500 here that American one would cost me. So that's part of that whole thing we figured out. But that's going to save me $2,500 in not having to buy that warranty. So that's where the reliability factor matters to me. They're all probably reliable to 80,000 miles without fail. I've owned a number of F-150s with 85,000 and 120,000 miles on them, you know, that I bought new and rode them right through there, and I never ever had a problem. But that's always in the back of my head that if something does, they're expensive to work on, especially the new motors and stuff today. So for me, the warranty savings is where my reliability factor comes from. Since I don't have to buy this, this benefits me in this one. So those are basically the reasons why I want that Toyota Tacoma. Now I'm going to pause this real quick so the camera can cool down for a minute, and then I'm going to show you the mods. Okay, so now let's talk about what I'm going to do to mine. Okay, so we already covered that stuff. Let's kind of clear that out of there. Pull this out of here just so it's gone out of the way. So the goals, what I'm looking for in this vehicle, this Tacoma, is I need something that's a high miler. Okay, it can handle the high miles well. On the highway. It's got amazing resale and reliability because, as you know, again, if you're in my course, I have not paid a penny for a vehicle in a very long time. I buy them, I use them, I sell them for exactly or more than what I paid for them. I have not spent $1 out of my pocket on any vehicle, regardless if it's car, truck, snowmobile, dirt bike, four-wheeler, trailer. I haven't spent a penny on any of that stuff in a long time. I'm always doing this right way. Again, stuff in the course. So I need a high miler with amazing resale and reliability. Okay, this fits that bill better than anything else out there for what I need. I need an excellent off-roader for hunting and the adventure stuff I do. This fits that bill perfectly. And I also need a perfect little work truck that will get me into places I need, pull my trailers that I need to take with me, have the space in the bed, plenty of tie downs, the track system, a lot of, you know, so I can do all kinds of neat things back there that I need to and customize it. This does what I need to. Okay, so those are the goals that I was after with this. So let's talk about how I'm going to mod it. Okay, well, I'm getting a 2022 TRD off-road. It already comes with all-weather liners in the front and the rear, door sill protectors. Are the only two options that are on it. I haven't got it yet. You can't even buy one. They're never even on the lots. I bought what's called an allocated one. That means I called every dealership within 400 miles of me, and I called them and I said, hey, what Tacoma TRD off-roads for 2022 do you have on allocation? They say, hold on, let me get my list. We have this one coming in on November 15th, this one coming in on December 9th, this one coming in on December 13th. That's all we get. I'll know more in next month what's coming then. Okay, call another deal and you find out what all these things are. I found one that had the options I wanted, the stuff I got, you know, not the stuff I don't want. And I found it, and it's actually being built on December 1st, and it will be there for me to pick up about 10 days later. But I bought one on allocation. So my 2022 comes with the all-weather floor mats in there already and the door sill protectors. It's the only options I got on it. It does have LED, the 2022 model has LED fog lights and LED running lights. That's nice. So I'm adding Hikari, and I'll put links to this stuff for you down below, Ultra LED high beam bulbs. I'm not doing the low beams on this. Again, I've done a lot of research. They're projector low beam bulbs. They don't need it. The halogens work pretty good, and honestly, I live out here in the country. I use my high beams 99% of the time. The only time I'm running low beams is when somebody's coming at me, or I'm driving right directly in town, or I'm downstate working weddings and doing stuff like that. I'm in the city where I don't need them. So during the low beams will work just fine. My world, where I'm worried about hitting deer and animals on the road all the time, that's where the high beams come in. For my high beams, I want LEDs. I want them good. And they're very affordable, and they're easy, super quick to install. So I'm putting those Hikari Ultra LED high beams in it. Tire-wise, this one was a big decision. Okay, I love Falcon Wild Peaks. I've been running them on every truck for a very long time. These Goodyear Ultra Terrain, I think that's what they're called. I'll have a link to them. I'm probably showing you a picture right here, as I did with the bulbs. You're seeing pictures of all this stuff. The Goodyear Ultra Terrains interest me a lot. This tire's got an 18/32 tread depth, very aggressive pattern, and some solid reviews. It's a pretty brand new tire, and it's also 4 pounds lighter per tire than my Falcons are, and it's still an E-rated 10-ply tire. So for this Tacoma, I think it's really what I'm looking for here. It'll help keep that gas mileage up. It'll give me that E-rated tire so I never worry about tires. And it's got a much more aggressive look than even the Falcon. Way more aggressive and bigger stance and shoulder size than like a BFG KO2. It just looks like the right tire. Now, I'm going up one size larger than what stock is. So I'm going to a 265/75/16. So on this truck, that equals out to a 32 by 1050 tire compared to a 31 by 1050 tire that comes out in stock. So it's an inch taller. That is going to gain me a ½ inch of ground clearance, putting my ground clearance straight solid right at 10 inches of ground clearance at the differential. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm not going to argue with that. That's good. Now, there's a lot of guys that are lifting them. And if you follow my podcast, when I was originally talking about getting one of these, I was talking about putting a 2-inch lift on the front, a 1-inch lift in the rear, putting the 285/75/16s in a, which is a 33-inch 1150 tire on there, which was what I was going to put on this thing originally. I would have had to buy new wheels to get the offset to be able to fit them and not hit control arms and get the stance I wanted with this thing. Would have cost me about $3,200 total. And all I would have gained is another ½ inch of clearance, ground clearance over this, taking me to 10.5. I would have lost 5 to 7 miles per gallon. And I would have lost a lot of that high miler reliability. When you lift stuff that high, especially the Tacomas, there can be some issues with some of the CV axles and some of the bearings and some of the control arm bushings, things like that. Not that most people will see that, but again, when you're high miler like I am, that stuff starts to creep up on you. Somebody driving 20,000 miles a year, 15,000 miles a year, they'll probably get 3-4 years out of a lifted Tacoma before they got to do something to it. Me, I never would. So for me, just doing these tires is all I'm doing to it. It's not worth $3,200 and the headaches and frustrations and the loss of gas mileage to go from 10 to 10.5. And some of you guys are thinking, well, you said you're going to put a 2-inch lift on it. Lift doesn't matter on a pickup truck because you have a solid axle in the back. Okay, so if you put that into perspective, just a quick, real fast, not to get down too many rabbit holes, but if you take a pickup truck right here, okay, and here's your truck, okay, and you take this truck and then here's your wheels right here. If you lift this truck 2 inches, it doesn't matter because you have an axle right here that goes all the way through. So when you look at it and you flip this around, here's your tailgate, here's a wheel, and here's a wheel, here's your axle, okay? That axle does not move up with this lift. You can lift that body as high as you want to. You can take that thing up all the way to the moon so that your wheels are way down here, but your axle is still here. Okay, that's where your axle is. To the other wheel over there too. So you have, it doesn't matter how high you lift it, unless you can get that rear axle up, it doesn't make any difference. So since you can, the only way to lift that rear axle is with tire height. If I go 1 inch taller in tire size, 1 inch taller, since you split the difference at the axle, you have a ½ inch here, 0.5, and 0.5 is your 1 inch total, but you only gain from the axle up, you're only adding 0.5 inches of ground clearance. So it would be $3,200 for me to basically gain a ½ inch of ground clearance, lose a ton of MPGs, and possibly have some headaches down the road. Was it worth it for me? Does it look amazing? Yes. Do I envy those Toyotas that are lifted? Yes. Does it fit my lifestyle? No. So for me, these right here are what I'm doing tire-wise. I'm putting a bed mat in the back end. It's rubber, it's nice, the bed mat is, it's like $100 bucks, I'll put links to it, but anything I set back there will not shift around or slide now, it stays put. I love that. I'm putting a roll-up tonneau cover on here. This is a good quality one, yet it is still very, very affordable, but it does what I need it to do. Again, you're seeing pictures, but this tonneau cover is there when I need it. It locks, technically, it is a tonneau cover. It's very easy to get into if you wanted to just cut it. But out of sight, out of mind, and with my tailgate lock, which I will talk about here, they'll walk up and they'll pull the tailgate and it doesn't open, and they're like, okay, well, they can't open a tonneau cover without cutting it open unless they open a tailgate, hit the latches, and then it rolls forward. So it is sort of secure from the average person. Not that I'm going to store anything of true value back there on a regular basis, but it's not just a simple, just lift it up and look in there, or just drop the tailgate and go, oh, I'm taking that, and close the tailgate and walk away. Not that simple. But it does quickly roll up out of the way completely without having to store extra bows, without having to flip sections like that and then have that still there. I can completely, within seconds, roll that whole tonneau cover all the way up to the front and have full access to my bed. I need that for, again, my work truck aspect of it, as well as some of my hunting trips, camping adventures, things like that. But I also want that tonneau cover to keep my gear back there dry. So for a couple $100 bucks, this is a win-win in my book. And in the OEM original equipment manufacturing, so it's Toyota's tailgate lock system. Installs right in the tailgate. Now when I hit my key fob, it locks the tailgate along with all the car doors. So I don't have to use a key back there. Automatically locks it. So that's a win-win. Skid plates I am not sure of until I get here, but I do spend a lot of time off-road. I know the off-road has skid plates, but I will have to get under there when I see it and see what kind of skid plates. I know it's got a good front one, but if it doesn't have good differential skid plates and good gas tank skid plates and transfer case skid plate, then I'm going to add those. Again, something personal preference, but I spend a lot of time off-road. I'm not to the point where I need rockers and you know, that kind of stuff for sliders, because I'm not getting crazy that way, but skid plates to me are a very big factor, especially when I get in these holes and there could be logs left in there from somebody that tried to get unstuck once before, rocks as I'm crossing all these creeks, all kinds of things. Skid plates for me are important. So that one I haven't addressed yet. And then a bed molly rail panel system. This is going on here, okay? This is a for sure thing. And I'm showing you pictures. But in my bed rails, or along the rails, the whole inside of my bed will be molly panels. That will allow me to mount my shovels, my ARB, or my ARB deflator system, my Viair inflator system can mount on there. All these things can mount right along there and be right there. You know, yes, they could be stolen because I don't have a hard locking tonneau cover, but again, I gotta fine tune those. And where I live at up here, I have no problem leaving all of that stuff mounted and strapped to those rails anywhere I go in town. Heck, my wife doesn't even take the key out of her car, or her purse is in the car half the time. So I'm not concerned with somebody stealing that stuff here locally. If I am, I can pull it out real quick, but I want that stuff being able to be around my truck bed, out of the way, up high on the sides, not just laying in there floating around. So those molly system rails, not expensive, again, you're seeing pictures, are what I'm going to use to do that. So that's basically it right there. That's the whole setup. And I may go with a waterproof key fob. Okay, I didn't put that on here, but again, I'm always in the water, always wet, but a waterproof key fob. I'm trying this upside down. We're just going to put a KF. Okay, but I might put a waterproof key fob on this too. They're like $30, but again, it just protects it in my pocket if I fall over and get soaked. So, but that's it. Those are the reasons for it. That's the reasons I picked this Tacoma. It's a great vehicle. There's a lot of great vehicles out there. You can't go wrong with any of them. But these are the things that matter to me. This is what months of research and figuring out and fine-tuning and understanding has come down to, and what it's led to. And it makes it the best vehicle choice for what I need, what I want. If you're looking for a new Tacoma, hopefully some of this stuff helps you out. If you're looking at something else, this gives you a little comparison of how it stacks up versus some of the other vehicles out there. So thanks for watching. There will be links down below in the description for these things so you can see what they are if you want to. And I've shown you some pictures on here. The course information is down there too. And hit the subscribe button as well too. Thanks for watching. We'll be back soon with more.